Hello and welcome to another video about philosophy. If you are new to this channel, my name is Frank Tu and I'm a college professor teaching sociology, history and philosophy. I'm also an award-winning landscape photographer. A few weeks ago, I uploaded a video in which I compared two ancient Chinese philosophies, legalism and Taoism. I explained that the starting point of legalism was that human beings by nature was selfish. An important point I made in that video is that different philosophical theories are based on different understandings and assumptions of human nature. I promised that I will make more videos to explain this view of mine. And that is exactly what I'm going to do today. In this video, I'm going to have a look at Thomas Hobbes and see how his assumption about human nature led to his philosophical theory. The content of this video is based on my published book, Random Thoughts in Philosophy. Thomas Hobbes was a very famous philosopher living in 17th century England. He witnessed the English Civil War, which was fought from 1642 to 1651 between parliamentarians and royalists. The destruction and brutality of the Civil War made him think about human nature and the role of government in maintaining social stability. By the way, if you have watched my philosophy videos, you will know that I have always insisted that philosophy is a product of social and political environment. This is certainly the case with Thomas Hobbes' philosophical theory, which was born in a chaotic political environment. Hobbes is best known for his 1651 book, Leviathan, which established his reputation as one of the founders of modern social and political philosophy. Just like legalism in ancient China, Hobbes' philosophy was based on the assumption that human beings were selfish by nature. According to him, before any kind of common authority was established to rein in their selfishness, people lived in what he called a state of nature where everyone was absolutely free and had the right to all things, including the right to harm or kill another one. Because everyone was selfish, everyone had a tendency to kill anyone else in his own self-interest. As a result, everyone lived in fear because even the strongest might be killed. So, in his words, the state of nature was a war of every man against every man. Life there was solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. But unlike animals, human beings have the capacity of reasoning. According to Hobbes, people felt the need to have someone to control everyone so that everyone would be protected, even though it meant they would have to give up some of their freedom. A person should be selected and be given the power to control for the peace and protection of all. In the process, each individual promised every other that he would obey the selected person and carry out whatever demands the selected person should consider necessary. Therefore, a person or group of persons was selected to govern the whole community. The authority, which Hobbes called the Leviathan, which literally means a powerful monster, was thus created in a way that was similar to a contract. Each individual was under the obligation to obey the selected person. In return, the selected person was to serve as a government, protecting everyone and providing peace and order. This theory became known as the social contract theory in philosophy. But Hobbes didn't create the social contract theory just to give us an explanation of the creation of government. He also wanted to prove that the dominant theory about government until his time was wrong. Before him, the theory of divine right of monarch had controlled human thinking. According to this theory, a monarch was given right to rule directly from the will of God, and therefore was subject to no earthly authority. The essence of this theory was that any attempt to get rid of the king or to restrict his power was against the will of God. This theory was supported and often used by the Catholic Church and the Anglican Church in England. In a society where nearly everyone believed in God, everyone took it for granted that the power of kings and queens came from God. Since God was unquestionable, the power of kings should never be challenged, no matter how abusive and brutal they were. To prove this theory wrong, Hobbes was clever to use an imaginary state of nature as an analogy to make his point that the power of government came from people. He was the first philosopher to declare that if government failed to serve its purposes, people had every right to abolish it and create a new government. The impact of this theory was huge and obvious. Before him, there had been very few political upheavals in Britain. After him, however, the power of a monarch was no longer regarded as God-given. Britain, even the whole Western Europe, witnessed numerous revolutions, which often resulted in the overthrow of monarchy in bloody uprisings. Although Hobbes was the first Western philosopher to provide a full explanation of the social contract theory, he was not the first one to put forward the idea. The famous ancient Greek philosopher Socrates, for example, suggested the similar idea when he accepted the death sentence and died without trying to escape because he felt he had an obligation to obey the authority. Hobbes was not the last philosopher to advocate the social contract theory either. Other philosophers such as John Locke and Jean-Jacques Rousseau developed the social contract theory even further. The social contract theory also had its impact on American politics during and immediately after the American Revolution. For example, Thomas Paine, who wrote Common Sense to advocate for American independence from the British government, said, "Government, even in its best state, is but a necessary evil." James Madison, one of the founding fathers of America, was fearful of potential abuse of power by a big government, but he still believed in the necessity of government because if men were angels, no government would be necessary. His pessimistic view of human nature obviously resonated with Thomas Hobbes. Well, that is all that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you for watching this video, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next one.